Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another movie review. And this one is a little bit more obscure actually. This was produced by HBO Films in '04, or I think the back of the desk jacket says, yeah, '04. And it's called Something the Lord Made. And it stars Alan Rickman and Mos Def. And Alfred Blaylock is played by Alan, and Vivian Thomas is played by Mos Def. And when we start our story, it begins in the Jim Crow South in the 30s, and Vivian, he's just your average ordinary. Well, actually, he's not. He's not what you would consider average. He begins his life as a carpenter, and he just does some of the most spectacular work you would ever see. And he proves himself to be without equal when he goes into Dr. Blaylock's office, because he wanted to be a doctor. He had always aspired to be so ever since he was a young child. And he starts reading his books and absorbing everything that he peruses, and he's just a genius. And he he's a prodigy, and he soaks everything up just in the course of weeks, what it would take some normal person years. And of course, Dr. Blaylock takes him under his wing and starts to become the student rather than the teacher. And they develop this very unique camaraderie. And Blaylock starts actually defending him on many accounts. And the movie actually spans along from the 30s to the 60s. Excuse me. And matters change quite a bit, and it's really quite intriguing to see how they do, because in the beginning, not even the other cardiological doctor, a woman, God forbid any man be taking any advice from her, because the scientists were considered science was considered a masculine field. It was not even open to my persuasion. Uh, Women were considered the weaker of the species. They were just considered the submissives. My how times have changed. We still have our glass ceiling, yes, but a lot of things have changed for women, and actually, as you can understand and see now, health is predominantly female oriented. You probably have seen this in many hospitals all across the board. This film is about discrimination and acceptance and tolerance, and that of defying convention, just breaking barriers, thinking outside the box. And one of my favorite lines is actually said by Dr. Blaylock himself. He says, where you see risks, I see potential, or where you see obstacles, I see potential. And that's going to become my motto too. He's the exact opposite of Vivian. Dr. Blaylock has a ton of hubris, and Vivian does not. Vivian is very humble. He's a gentleman. He's your typical Southern young man who was brought up to be polite and generous and thoughtful, considerate, etc. Where, on the other hand, you've got Alan Blaylock, who is just this arrogant, pretentious, egoistic, prejudicial doctor who is a holier than thou character. it's just such a fascinating story, and coming from my background as an aspiring EKG tech, I have to say I absolutely adore this film. Two thumbs way up and 5 stars. It's about the Tourneau syndrome, I do believe it's called. Somebody please, if I got that incorrect, please correct me. But it's basically what they called blue babies. At the time, they were considered no man's land. Nobody even wanted to have anything to do with them because they were doomed from the get-go. Um, they were just put into isolation chambers, incubators, and basically left to die. And it was just inhumane, and but they didn't really know how to handle it, so experiments were done on dogs due to Darwin's work, and it showed Johns Hopkins University and how how things began and where they ended, and it is really quite the transformation. This film is just nothing but sensational, and it's superb. I was utterly just inspired by it, and it gives me more confidence to continue in my path. I really want to get into vascular ultrasound. That's where I think that I really feel comfortable, and I know I'm going to fit in that mold someday. But starting with EKGs is absolutely perfect. Just one rung on the ladder, and I keep climbing up. Um, this movie is just wonderful, and it's just such an inspirational movie. And there are times that you are going to find yourself just weeping because it's so touching. I know I did. I can't help it. I'll laugh easily and I'll cry easily. But the former more than the latter. Um, what else can I say about this movie other than the fact that it's very obscure and probably the only place you'll be able to locate it is Amazon. So if you do, please purchase it and you won't be sorry. If you're going into the field of cardiology, highly recommend it again, because you're going to learn an awful lot here about how open heart surgery, particularly for infants, was revolutionized as a whole, due to, well, mainly Thomas's work with hearts. Blaylock did a lot of that too, but he was under the supervision of Thomas. Um, it really is just a phenomenal movie, and just such a amazing story done by HBO Films, and it just has that whole feeling of something like Lorenzo's Oil. It's that kind of movie, and if you've seen Lorenzo's Oil, you know what I'm talking about. One of the I get really excited when I talk about medicine and science. I'm sorry. Um, One film I hope to review in the very near future is called First Do No Harm. It's got Meryl Streep in it. I'm really not sure what else it's about, but I'll be doing that in the very near future. This one was a real winner, and it gives us all hope, I think, for humanity, and it expressed a lot of different viewpoints, particularly that of science versus that of fundamentalism, and how bad fundamentalism is. And I always want to put myself in that category of not being that way, because personally I don't feel that faith and science are separate. I think that they are one and the same, because we're seeing a lot more of that, and we see them mesh a lot more due to our understanding of both of the fields, and one cannot exist without the other. They rely on each other. They have to be together, or they just don't function as a whole. And I think a lot of people are beginning to understand that. I'm not sure how I got on that topic, and I'm sorry. It just is something that I wanted to state outright, and hopefully not receive any flames because of it. Um, this is just my opinion. A lot of people have written. I've gotten some comments that say, "Well, why do you believe in God, and why can't you just believe in your imperialistic views and your Darwinistic background?" Which I do. I'm at the very most fundamental level. I am a Darwinist, and I will not contest that fact. However, Darwin did make mention in his Origin of the Species that he was prone to make mistakes, as all good scientists do, just because they are human beings, and that's the very nature of science itself, to hypothesize. And part of that is doing your experiment over and over and over again until you achieve the result that you wish to achieve. And that's actually in this movie as well, with the Chernode babies, or the blue babies as they were called. And it just teaches the whole aspect of, the old theology of do not touch, non toccare, in Latin. Do not touch was the whole saying. It was the modicum of the medical world, and they would not lay siege on the heart. All that is just considered foreboding. Sorry, I don't know why I'm speaking in different languages tonight, but they just wouldn't have anything to do with it. But how times have changed, and how the whole understanding of our body is not just the body, but all the interlocking parts. They all work as a whole: mind, body, spirit. They are one and the same. This theology is not new. It actually comes from the Victorian era, where it was widely accepted. So we're going back to a more integrated theology, I think, and I just love it. It's so exciting for me, and this film is, I think, part of that, and just shows that shift. So I'm very pleased to say that I'm not the type that'll go waving my flag around. No, I'm just not. I don't ascribe to that. It's just people who do that disgust me, and I think, ugh, get a life. But I'm not the type to protest against such people, because they have a right to live too. It's not like I agree with them, but live and let live. And even those people who comment saying, well, there is no God and all that, I'm okay with this. If you believe that way, I don't hold it against you. You have every right to be an atheist, and there is certain comfort in being an atheist too. One of my best friends is an atheist, and we get along just fine because we talk about evolution all the time. And he's the coolest person ever. Other than that, I can't really say that much about this film and all the other little tracks that I have traversed. Like I said again, highly recommend this. And if you're in ethics class, show this to your teacher. Please watch it in class. Discuss. The peanut is neither a pea nor a nut. Discuss. Sorry, had to make that reference, but just every which way tonight. Just because I'm so eager about everything that's happening, and all these different inroads are coming to one pathway, I think, and things are definitely looking up for alchemists too. And now I'm talking about myself in third person. Should I be concerned? Yes, maybe, perhaps. Who knows? I shall see you again in the future. I will be reviewing First Do No Harm. Not really sure what else I'll be watching, but hopefully I will be seeing Percy Jackson. I highly doubt that I will see Planes, I'll probably just wait for it on DVD. It doesn't really look that great anyway. I'd like to see Kick-Ass 2, but that's probably not even on the agenda because I've got to take my CCT first. That's the most important thing in my life. Take my CCT, hopefully ace it, and then make myself more pleasant to employers and let them know that I worked hard for this and I can do what I'm set to do, and they can rely on me and know that I am accurate and intelligent and that I have the academia to back me up. But I'm at the halfway point. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! I've made it this far. I've only, let's see, next week and una dia más. So, that will be all. So until next time, I shall the flip side collide.